G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole? And in our first story today, OP cancels their wedding, and you're gonna love just why they do that. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, smack that like button, and get ready for some more bloody good content. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for cancelling my wedding? Over the past year and a half, my fiancé Jose and I, female 25, have been planning a wedding for July of 2021. We've been together for 10 years and have lived together for 3 years. Jose and I both don't like the pomp and circumstance of weddings, and we're hoping to have a low-key, inexpensive one. My family, however, wanted something bigger. My mother has expressed to me just how much she is living through me in having this wedding. I have expressed to her plenty that social situations trigger my anxiety. She doesn't care. Jose and I gave in last minute and agreed to marry in a church and have the big reception that she wanted. Jose made sure that if we were going to do this, my parents would pay for both the venue and the church fee. They agreed. Planning was stressful, and it caused a lot of tension between Jose and I. It turns out the stress wasn't coming from the planning itself, it was the wedding as a whole. With my therapist's help, we identified that being a bride embodied many things my mother berated me for growing up and acted as triggers for my CPTSD. I came forward with my reservations to my mother. Her response was to gaslight me about my therapist's diagnoses and insist on the wedding happening the way we planned it. She joked that I could take some CBD or have a drink to stay calm during the wedding. She's also begun drinking to avoid confronting her feelings and regards it as the only thing she has that is hers. She does not take it seriously, and my father won't help. I found out that the private conversations I've had with my father about her drinking were shared with her. It got bad enough that at my bridal shower, she had 18 beers and berated my sister-in-law for calling her out on drunkenly crap-talking my brother to family. Mind you, Jose's side of the family does not drink, as they lost their grandfather to alcoholism. I feel horrible they were put in a position of having to watch her. When trying to make amends between my sister-in-law and her, she decided to take me on a car ride in which she screamed at, gaslit, and berated me for accusing her of being an alcoholic. She apologized for this, half-heartedly expecting me to forgive her and move on. As a result, I've gone no contact with her, and Jose and I made calls and cancelled the big wedding altogether, and are instead going to quietly get married at the courthouse this Saturday with a small group present. Half of the deposit from the venue was non-refundable, but we decided to take a small personal loan to make sure we don't owe my parents anything at the end of this. His side of the family is completely on board, while mine is sending emails and pleading with me to be a better person and to make up with her. I know I've made a lot of missteps in this. I should have set my boundaries much earlier in this mess and stayed firm in not having the wedding. I wanted to hear from an unbiased party whether I'm being reasonable. Am I the arsehole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I should have set my boundaries with my family earlier, and feel that I've caused an unnecessary amount of emotional and financial stress for my fiancé, as well as confusion for our families. I also know how much this wedding would mean to my mother, given her situation with her parents not being fully present for hers. Now in the comments, your family are the arseholes here. They forgot that the wedding is about the bride and groom and not everyone there. In extreme case, it may also extend to being about the kids if they're really young and really important to the relationship, but probably not applicable here. Anyways, the moment you had reservations, your mum should have dropped everything to figure out a way to accommodate your concerns. When she fled from her duty to do that, she lost her right to complain about any of this. Enjoy your courthouse wedding, OP, and I'm sorry for all the strife. And OP replies, my mother had straight up told me that the wedding wasn't supposed to be for us. It is a celebration for the family. One of the emails I'd received from my aunt was, verbatim, the wedding is a chance for us to celebrate you. Please don't go off and elope and deprive us of that privilege. Yes, a wedding is a chance for the family to celebrate the union of a couple, However, it should never be at the expense of what the couple wants. If the couple getting married want a low-key, no-pomp shindig, that is their right. You can't change the past, so don't beat yourself up about boundaries now. You've put them in place and learned a lesson. Just make sure you keep them in place should you decide to go down the path of kids. Not the arsehole. Why is it the person wronged has to be the bigger person? Just do what's best for you and your partner. That expectation is because the one wronged is the only one who might be willing to be the bigger person. It's a lot harder to get the offender to mend their ways. Bad expectation though. Not the arsehole. You did this for her when it's supposed to be about you and Jose. Then she wrecked it with her behavior and you cancelled it. I wouldn't have even taken out a loan to pay her back. She ruined this, not you. You are not unreasonable. You've been far too reasonable for far too long. Imagine how your mother would be, drunk at your wedding. It would be a horrible day that would feed into your anxieties about a big wedding. No, you were doing the right thing, and congrats to the nuptials. When your family is ready to behave, you can have a backyard barbecue party and invite them over to celebrate after the fact. If they can't behave and be happy for you, you are still happily married. And now back to the post. Edit. I'm floored, honestly, at how much traction this has gotten in the past few hours. I can't begin to thank you all enough for your words of kindness and guidance in this very strange time. When I made this post, I think I had expected to get more of a mixed response, but reading all of the not the arseholes come in has admittedly thrown me for a loop. I've since subbed to many of the subreddits recommended to me by other survivors of narcissistic parents, and cannot thank you enough for y'all taking your time out of the day to reach out. Jose and I will be remaining no contact with my mother and family going forward, and I can't wait until the smaller, more intimate wedding this Saturday. For some needed context that has popped up in the comments a few times, the car ride that I went on with my mother was not while she was drunk. In trying to meet the character limit on the post, I neglected to mention that this was on a separate day from the shower. I apologize if that's misled anyone. And now on to the update. Yesterday, I married the love of my life and partner of 10 years in a quiet little backyard ceremony. 15 people were there, friends, family, and Jose's immediate family. The ceremony took all of 15 minutes thanks to our amazing JOP, and the celebration was fun. Casual conversation over a simple sandwich lunch. We got to catch up with friends that we haven't seen since the pandemic started, as well as make fun memories with the people willing to understand and love us without judgment. My mother, in response to finding out I've got no contact with the family and planned a private wedding without her, sent one of my aunts screaming at me the day before the wedding over email. Catholic guilt, gaslighting, the whole shebang. I went all in on telling my family exactly what I felt and dealt with in regards to my mother and them. They had the audacity to invent a story that Jose is nothing but a controlling abuser that deleted her first email. He's trying to steal me away from them and convince me it was the truth. They wanted me to forgive my mum and be the bigger person, even after detailing the extent of her abuse to them. I tore my aunt a new asshole over email, citing them all, my grandmother included, as cowards for not coming to me to tell me the alleged truth about Jose before, offering pomp, circumstance, and praise for getting married to him. It's funny how quickly the narrative shifted from, "Oh, think of your poor mother," to, "You poor, stupid child running into the arms of an abuser," to, "You're a monster for cancelling our family." The block button has been my best friend. Within the last 72 hours, I've learned exactly what kind of family I was raised in. In a way, I mourn that it had to be like this. No contact with the people I thought were supposed to love me. What I have realized is their brand of love is conditional. My mother also demanded the money back for the venue, and we sent a check to her. She still has chosen not to cash it. We have ample documentation to prove we have provided her that check. Jose is warning her in writing to cash that check by the 21st, or else he will stop that check and pay back the loan. Thank you to all of the kind Redditors that have reached out offering words of encouragement and resources for coping with narcissistic, toxic family. Jose and I were thrilled to finally have had this wedding on our own, surrounded by the people that matter the most to us. Now in the comments, quote, they had the audacity to invent a story that Jose is nothing but a controlling abuser. Projection much? Congrats on the wedding and starting the family that you two are going to build together off on the right foot by surrounding yourselves with genuinely supportive people. Congratulations on your wedding. I'm glad you two could have your day the way that you wanted to. Toxic families suck, but it sounds like you've at least married into a much kinder, more loving family. Best of luck to you both in all of your future endeavors. And I'm 99% sure that she will attempt to deposit the check on the 22nd so she can claim more victim points. And OP replies, the happy update on this piece of info is she cashed the check today. It's at least one more thing not to worry about, and we have a financial plan for the payments until we can pay it off fully next year. And our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for unplugging the internet when my boyfriend was playing a game? So I'd cooked dinner for my boyfriend and I had called him several times. He didn't respond, so I was like, what the hell, and went to find him and bring his dinner to him. He was playing Call of Duty or Halo and said he didn't hear me. I was like, alright, here's your dinner, and then I handed it to him and he just looked at it and said that I didn't want mac and cheese, I said chicken nuggets and fries. I said sorry, but if you'd listened when I got back, you would have heard the store was all out of nuggets. He then threw the plate with the food on it at a set of drawers. I said seriously, what is wrong with you? And he just said that he was annoyed because I just made him die in the game by distracting him, and he was already mad about having mac and cheese. I said if that's gonna make you angry, you shouldn't be playing while eating. He just said whatever and carried on playing, so I went downstairs and turned the router off while I ate. He came storming down asking what the hell I had done. I said if you can't listen to me, you shouldn't be playing games when I'm trying to do stuff. He said I can't turn the internet off because he pays for it, so I said he just wasted food. He said I should have told him they were out of nuggets and waited for him to be done on the game instead of turning it off. I think he was being unreasonable, especially after he threw the plate, but his mum and my mum are siding with him. They say I shouldn't have turned the internet off, and I'm thinking they're completely missing the point. So was I wrong to do that, or should I have done something different? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I feel I may be the asshole for unplugging the internet when my boyfriend is playing a game because he wouldn't listen to me. My mum said I should have waited to talk to him about it. Now in the comments, everyone sucks here. Your son is being pretty immature and volatile, but as his mother, you're responsible for responding calmly and in a mature fashion so that he learns better behaviors. I don't know, I'd react more strongly than this to my 6-year-old son if he threw a plate of food that I made into the furniture. OP just taking his toy away was pretty calm. He's an adult. He can get his own food if he doesn't want what his partner cooked him. Everyone sucks here. Not the asshole. Leave now. This is not going to get better. The fact that his mother and your mother are siding with him shows that he's been raised to believe that this is acceptable behavior. He is disrespectful and rude. He places his game playing above real life. He has anger issues, and he eats like a toddler. If you stay and end up having children with him, you will be struggling the whole time to get him away from the screen and helping you. You will expose your children to him blowing up at them for interrupting his games. Apologize and tell him he can game all weekend and you won't interrupt him at all. He'll be so busy he won't hear as you pack your things into your car. And might not even notice you're gone till it's time for his diaper change. Everyone sucks here. You eat like 5-year-olds, you fight like siblings, and then you run off and tell your respective mums? Grow up. And OP replies, he told our mums first. They both messaged me why I did it, so I tried to explain, and they were taking his side. To be fair, he has a lot more growing up to do than you, which begs the question, are you bringing him up, or is he bringing you down? I actually think you need to focus on the fact that your partner's abusive. He threw a plate of food across the room because it wasn't what he wanted, and he lost a game. Wow! This is abuse. He didn't hit you, but people who throw things or punch holes in walls are still violent abusers. You both sound childish and petty, but he also has serious anger issues and is physically violent. If I had a partner who did this, I would be gone immediately. I'd be unlikely to return as well. There'd have to be a serious contrition, a change in attitude and behavior, plus counseling if this wasn't the first such incident. The fact your mothers have no issue with his violence is very disturbing. You need to seriously look at the quality of the people in your life, plus any unhealthy behaviors on your part as well. People become the company they keep. And now on to the update. Thank you to everyone that helped me see that what he did was really not right. I had wondered why my mum and his would side with him too, and after speaking with my mum, I found out that he had been bad-mouthing me before this and had told her a different story to what really happened. He told her he had been at work all day and got home, and I was instantly aggressive and turned the internet off and said no games or food. I don't know why she would believe that, but whatever. He had been playing the game for 8 hours straight that day up until that point. Anyway, I left him and moved back with my mum, and for now I'm in the process of moving all my belongings, but I have the most important stuff. He has been texting me, begging me to come back because he misses me, also because he can't cook. I saw McDonald's wrappers all over the floor when I went to get some of my clothes. He also posted a video to Facebook of his crying, saying I took everything and I'm a cow. His mum is still siding with him, and she's been harassing me in messages for abusing her son. She says how dare I leave him. First, she tried to guilt trip me by saying how will he clean and cook by himself, and when that didn't work, she started threatening me and sending me abusive messages. I feel much better though. I didn't realize how much of a strain he had put upon me. So thank you to everyone that helped me out. And now in the comments, can't imagine what it would have been like to wake up in your 50s and have your teenage children come across your video that you made in your 20s, crying that your girlfriend left you because you can't cook or clean for yourself. If you were so abusive and terrible to a baby boy, why is she mad that you left him? Other than the fact that I guess now she'll have to take care of him. Block him and his mother. Just a suggestion, don't go over to get your stuff alone. He doesn't exactly seem stable. And OP replies, thanks, you're right, I didn't think about the dangers of that. If you don't have a big, bulky, male football-playing friend or two, you can call the police non-emergency line for an escort. Congratulations on taking care of yourself. Based on his reaction, which seems to have included absolutely no self-reflection, you made the right decision and will have a much happier life for it. And our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for stealing my neighbor's cat? So my neighbor of 3 years has a cat. He's always been an indoor cat the entire time I've known her. About 2 days ago, for reasons I don't know, she has kicked the cat out of her house, and now he's an outdoor-only cat. Over the course of a month or so, I watched the cat's condition decline steadily. Matting, fleas, getting skinny, etc. He also seemed really distressed being outside, always begging and meowing to try to get into people's houses. I felt bad for him and would let him come in whenever he came asking and tried my best to take care of him, until my neighbor came over and told me off for trying to steal her cat. I didn't want to cause trouble, so I stopped letting him in, but I still fed him. It was painful watching him suffer. 2 weeks ago was the last straw for me. The cat was hit by a car while crossing the road when the neighbor was not home. I saw it happen and rushed out to him to make sure he was alive, and he was, and I took him to the emergency vet. He ended up having a leg amputated, and all in all, it cost me almost $3,000. I did not tell my neighbor what happened, I paid the price, and told the vet the cat was a stray. They checked for a microchip, he didn't have one, and helped me contact the shelter to file a lost pet report. I took him home and have not let him outside at all since the accident. Here is where I may be the asshole. The stray holding period for my city is 5 days before an animal is considered abandoned, and since the neighbor has not claimed the cat through the shelter or asked me about him at any point in the past 2 weeks, I decided to keep him. Today, my neighbor saw him lounging in my window and came over and said that she'd been looking for him all week. She demanded I give him back, and if not, she would file a police report for me stealing him. I told her that she must have the wrong cat, as mine had 3 legs, and I shut the door in her face. She screamed through the door for a while and then left. Still waiting to see if she calls the cops. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? Now in the comments, not the arsehole. Like you said, your cat has 3 legs, hers has 4. And not the arsehole. If they did call the cops, they would recognize you as the owner because you have the cat chipped and have medical papers to prove you're caring for the cat. And without having to lie, you can simply tell them you witnessed an apparent stray get hit by a car, appropriately waited the grace period of 5 days, and claimed ownership when no one asked about it. That's legal. Edit to add, F your neighbors. And good on you for giving the cat a good home. Dog thief here. You are absolutely not the arsehole. Years ago, my husband was working for a company based in a small town. There was a small dog who lived on the next street who was never allowed indoors. The poor thing was always whimpering and crawling under cars to get warm. That Christmas was the coldest in decades, and before we went to visit family, we drove over to check on the dog. She was lying half under a car, shivering. Jay knocked on the owner's door and got no answer. The neighbor next door came out and told us they had gone down south for the holidays. I was furious. Little dog had no food, no water, and any water would have frozen anyway, and was on her own in sub-zero weather. We took her back to our house and gave her food and water and a bed in our heated garage. I didn't want to put her in with our dogs until she saw the vet. When we got back the next day, we took her to the vet and left a note on the people's door saying, "We've got your dog. Our number is blank. Call us and give us one good reason we should bring her back." They never called. Little dog lived out her years with us, indoors, well-fed, no whimpering. There are damn few things that piss me off more than assholes who think dogs are lawn ornaments that require no care. Edit to add, OP, you are not only not the asshole, you are a hero. Never for a minute think otherwise. And now back to the post. Update. So, I talked to my neighbor again when she came back today, and it turns out that my neighbor's new boyfriend didn't like the cat. So when he moved in, he kicked the cat out. And now that they've broken up, she wants her cat back. I am now keeping my kitty, and I told her sorry that her cat went missing, but the one in my house is mine. She seemed upset still, but legitimately convinced that my cat was not the same one when I showed her pictures of his 3 legs. As many of you have said, the life of the animal is more important than the morality of the theft here. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.